Dobro. History. Archive.
On December 26, 2004, our planet physically changed. An absolutely catastrophic event began to unfold, one that would end up claiming over 227,000 lives across 14 different countries. So today, we're going to dig into the science behind it all, the staggering human cost, and the incredible technological revolution that was born from one of the deadliest natural disasters we've ever recorded. But let's start with this number, negative 2.68 microseconds. It looks so tiny, right? Almost meaningless. What could something that small possibly have to do with a catastrophe on this scale? Well, that's how much time the earthquake literally shaved off our planet's day. The shift in mass under the ocean was so profound, so immense, that it actually caused the Earth to spin just a tiny, tiny bit faster. This tells you right away, this wasn't just a regional disaster. This was an event on a planetary scale. See, to really understand the wave, you first have to understand the sheer force that created it. Because before there was a tsunami, there was an earthquake of almost unimaginable power, deep beneath the Indian Ocean. These numbers here, they tell a pretty remarkable story. A magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3, that makes it the third largest earthquake ever recorded with modern instruments. But look at that rupture length, up to 1,300 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's like the distance from Paris all the way to Budapest. A fault line of that size literally unzipping for a staggering 8 to 10 minutes. That sustained release is what displaced a colossal amount of water and even physically nudged the Earth's axis by about an inch. And if you want to try and wrap your head around the energy involved, scientists calculated it was like detonating 23,000 atomic bombs, the kind used on Hiroshima. That is the kind of cataclysmic force we are talking about, all unleashed from the Earth's crust in under 10 minutes. So, all of that incredible energy gets transferred directly into the ocean, creating a series of waves. But here's the thing. A tsunami is not like a normal wave you see at the beach. Out in the deep ocean, it's a silent, almost invisible killer. And this right here perfectly illustrates the wave's deadly, two-faced nature. In the deep ocean, it can be traveling at the speed of a jet airliner. We're talking hundreds of kilometers an hour, but its height can be less than a meter. A huge ship could pass right over it and the crew would notice absolutely nothing. But as it gets closer to land, where the water gets shallower, all of that forward speed gets converted into height. The wave slows way down and just rears up into this terrifying, devastating wall of water, sometimes over 30 meters high. For so many people, the first sign of trouble wasn't a wave coming in, but the exact opposite. The ocean just vanished. It pulled back hundreds and hundreds of meters from the shore. This quote from a survivor in Thailand just perfectly captures that eerie, totally unnatural moment. The seabed itself was suddenly exposed to the air. So you have to ask, what did people see? For thousands of tourists and locals who had never seen anything like it, this was a moment of curiosity, a natural wonder. People actually walked out onto the exposed sand to collect shells and look at all the stranded fish, with no idea, absolutely no idea, that this was the ocean's final, silent warning before it returned with unimaginable force. Okay, so now let's shift from the physics of the wave to its impact on people. The total scale of the loss is it's hard to even comprehend. But looking at individual stories really reveals the true nature of the tragedy that was unfolding along thousands of kilometers of coastline. Look at this number, 1,700. This number represents one of the single most horrific, concentrated losses of life from that entire day. That's the estimated number of people who died in just one event in Sri Lanka. It was a train called the Queen of the Sea, and it was packed with people traveling for the holidays. The first wave hit and just stopped the train dead in its tracks. Now, many passengers, thinking this heavy train was the safest place to be, actually climbed on top of the roof to get away from the water. But then a second, much larger wave came. It was so powerful it lifted all 8 carriages right off the rails and just smashed them to pieces. It became the single deadliest rail disaster in all of human history. Now, in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, the city closest to the earthquake's epicenter, the devastation was almost total, just a flattened landscape. And yet amid all that rubble, many of the city's mosques remained standing. For the survivors, you can imagine, this was a powerful, tangible sign of divine protection, a way to find meaning in absolute chaos. But structural analysis offers another explanation. Many of these were well-built, Dutch colonial-era structures. They had deep foundations, reinforced concrete, and importantly, an open design that actually allowed the force of the water to pass through them rather than just push against them. It's a really fascinating intersection of faith and physics. Amidst all this widespread tragedy, there were these just incredible stories of survival. And so often, the thing that made the difference between life and death wasn't physical strength or even luck. It was a simple piece of knowledge. This is the amazing story of Tilly Smith. She was a 10-year-old British girl on holiday in Thailand with her family. And when she saw the ocean pull back and start to fizz, she didn't see a strange wonder. She saw a warning. Why? Because she recognized the signs from a geography lesson on tsunamis she'd had just 2 weeks earlier. Her frantic warnings to her parents and then to security led to the full evacuation of her beach, saving around 100 lives. It is just such a powerful example of the life-saving power of education. And it wasn't just formal classroom education. The Moken people, who are these nomadic seafarers in the Andaman Sea, they didn't have any scientific instruments, but they had something else: ancestral knowledge. Their folklore had stories describing the signs of a coming tsunami, and they had a name for it, laboon, which means the wave that eats people. When they saw the ocean recede, their ancient stories told them exactly what to do: run for high ground, and as a result, entire villages survived. The sheer scale of preventable death in 2004 exposed what was, frankly, a catastrophic global failure. But that tragedy also became the catalyst for one of the most significant leaps forward in disaster warning technology that we have ever seen. The stark reality is that in 2004, for the entire Indian Ocean, there was simply nothing. No warning system. The Pacific Ocean had one, but the Indian Ocean was a complete blind spot. Scientists in Hawaii saw the massive earthquake on their instruments, but they had no way of knowing for sure if it had even generated a tsunami. And even if they did, they had no one to call. No warning protocols, no contact lists, just silence. But now, look at the progress. It's incredible. From that complete silence in 2004, a full-blown network of deep-sea buoys and seismic sensors, the IOTWS, was up and running by 2013. And today, we're in the era of AI-powered alerts that can give warnings in just minutes. And this, right here, just shows that incredible leap. The analysis time to figure out if a tsunami is coming has gone from hours down to under 2 minutes. We've gone from having no way to confirm a wave to having a whole network of deep ocean buoys and AI models running on supercomputers. A system like India's Terang can now match an earthquake's data against thousands of pre-run simulations to almost instantly predict a tsunami's path and its size. So, this brings us to a final, really crucial question. We've built this incredible technological shield. The warning can be sent out in seconds. But what happens after that? After the siren sounds or the text message arrives, what is that final link in the chain of survival? What is the last mile of defense? Because at the end of the day, the technology is only as good as the human response it triggers. That last mile isn't a wire or a satellite. It's education, it's awareness, it's preparation. It's the mind of a person standing on a beach who sees the signs and knows exactly what to do. The greatest legacy of 2004 isn't just the amazing warning system we build, but the lesson that our ultimate defense is and always will be a human mind that is prepared for the unthinkable.